Welcome to Back and Forth Sports. And this is Lepney. And to my side, I got Mr. Julius. Julius, introduce yourself to the people. We are back.
What's up, everybody? Back again. It's your co-host Julius. We thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Back and Forth Sports. We got a lot planned for today. There are a lot of sports going on, a lot of things happening right now. We're in the midst of the NCAA tournament, NBA right before the playoffs. There's NHL, MLB opening day. We've got just so many things going on right now. It's one of my favorite times of the year. So excited for this episode with your host, Lev. Of course, again, we thank you for hosting all this,
And
putting
you
all this
forgot to
together.
say, we do have the draft. There's the
Oh
draft
man,
coming up.
see, look. There's so many things. There's just so much sports, but we appreciate you putting this together. People, we appreciate y'all watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. Let's have another great episode.
Thank you. And then we do have a lot of things to talk about. And like I told Julius, we're going to talk about a little bit of everything today. And I'm going to start with one of the most important events. I won't say of the year. I'll say the most important event in any sports event, the World Cup. Do you agree, Julius? The World Cup is the most important event, the biggest event in the world.
I wouldn't say for me personally, but I'd say the world, yes. If you're maybe besides like the Olympics, but when we're talking about a whole bunch of countries tuning into a single sporting event, definitely.
World Cup get most views than the Olympics. Just putting it out there so people know. So the World Cup is the biggest sport in the world. Oh, hi, Luke. Luke, let us know how your bracket went, Luke, because some of the advice we gave you, we have to apologize. But we just look, like I said, we had things. It's just it didn't go. My Marshmallow bracket was cooked. Hey, brother. I think everyone March Madness bracket was cooked, except if you pick all the one seeds. But the problem was everyone has upsets somewhere. So because Luke is here, we can always, this is why I love podcasts. You can always improv. You want to talk about Mike Martinez to begin with, Julius? What do you feel how things went? How do you feel that upsets that we expected didn't happen? And then it's not even upsets that we didn't expect. It's like upsets that we expect to see coming didn't happen. It wasn't March. March wasn't March. And it kind of hurt me that March wasn't March. What do you feel about this whole March Madness and people talking NIL money ruined March and March will never be the same and now small schools are dead for? What do you think about this? And also, just to put it out there is some schools that make March Madness, and that next year are not even going to be in D1.
Right. I'll say first that like, of course, it's exciting when we get upsets or have lower seeds advance further in the tournament. We love to hear those stories. But the thing that I was most disappointed in is all the blowouts. To me, teams losing by 20, by 30, it's exciting when a 12 seed wins or when a 14 seed wins. But can they at least keep the game close? Can we at least have a couple of exciting finishes? This is a bracket with 68 teams, so there's so many games, 16 on each bracket. And I could maybe say there were three, four max close games per bracket. And in the whole entire thing, we're at the final four now. So this is through round one, through round two, through the Sweet 16. Too many blowouts for me personally. And that's the first thing. I mean, the second thing is, we all love seeing the upsets, but I mean, these guys got to come to play. It seemed like to me that the committee must have just gotten it right. The teams that have been the best teams in the country all year showed up to play, and nobody else did. We predicted. I don't know if any of the upsets we predicted even ended up getting right. I can pull up our bracket. I have our
What
bracket.
what didn't?
Uh,
McNeese,
but
the
we
McNeese boys.
Yale. They got
How
one.
do
Oh
you
yeah,
feel? Luke says was Cinderella. A Cinderella for me, Arkansas and Cinderella story just doesn't go together. Maybe because it's the SEC, where it's a
yeah,
big
yeah.
conference. But was Arkansas a Cinderella story for you, Julius? Was that something you expected?
No, I agreed. I mean, we can't really just because they were a lower seed. I mean, the SEC put 14 teams into the tournament. They had two in the final four, four in the elite eight. So I can't say that an SEC top uh, conference school, power conference school, could really be considered a Cinderella, especially when we compare it to the last ones we've had. Arkansas is not Florida Gulf Coast.
No,
Arkansas is not Loyola Chicago.
no. I
It's
wanted
not,
Loyola Chicago.
right. It's not. It's not the same.
It's
So
not Harvard.
even though they were a lower seed in this tournament, this is not a small school. And that's
No.
where you get the Cinderella upset vibes when it's a school like sometimes you're like, I didn't even hear about this college until this tournament. And Arkansas is definitely not that case. But it
And
was nice to see at least one 10 seed
and, and
in the
Luke is
Sweet
right. It
16
was
Elite
it
Eight.
was a lower seed. And
Yeah.
this is a conversation and for everyone in the chat. Do you guys think Cinderella stories are over? Because if you look schools like McNeese, right? They won one round. McNeese losing their most of their players, they're
Right.
losing their coach, going to a bigger school. Arkansas, even though they're an SEC school, they're losing their whole roster. Their whole roster's gone, transferring. So when so many kids are leaving these small schools to go play for these big schools, it makes it hard to make a run. If okay, I made the first round, maybe next year I can make the fifth round, the sixth, move on to the final four. It's hard to make those runs when your kids are no longer staying.
Well, a lot of people were talking about it, and specifically with Auburn, right? Because this is a team in Auburn that has, I think, every kid in their starting lineup is 22 or older, and there are a whole bunch of transfers. And like you said, guys transferring in with the portal and NIL. So it's been talked about, like, wow, this number one seed has all these top ended transfers, and they're all 22, 23, 24. We're not really getting to see or experience college basketball as we're used to it. I don't think I'm quite on the side of like it's done and it's completely ruined, but I'll let the people know. Me and you have had some conversations about it over the last couple of days, and I think your point is valid. I think you should go ahead and let the people know what you think and how you feel.
Luke does want to say the portal ruined little schools, but it's better for the players, and that might be right.
I
Right?
do agree with
We're
that.
we're, we're not saying it's bad for the players.
No, it's
And
great.
when I'm gonna say something, I'm not saying I'm all about getting your money. Right? College players, get your money. Like if it was me and they offered me $1 million to play, Julius would say, "Let go get your money."
We'll get it, man.
Right? So this is not about getting your money. And any athletes in here, I'm not telling you to not like if you're a college athlete one day, Luke, I'm not telling you not to get your money. I'm talking about a viewer. As a fan, it's ruining it because we won't get those upsets as much as we did. The reason small schools were beating these big schools was because the small schools have 4 year players. They had the seniors and they had players that played together for 3, 4, 2 years. And these big schools had the one and dones. So they had a bigger chance of beating the Dukes because Duke had a one 4 of the 5 players have Kentucky. Most of the players got one and done. When Tatum got upset, half of the starting was one and done. So now that you have that advantage, what advantage do you have? The top 10 players are not going to go to McNeese. They're not going to go to the small schools. And now the players that did go to your schools that you recruited and saw from, you thought they were going to be better than they were. Now you have one good season. You go to March Madness. Your player that averaged 25 points took you to the second round. Now he's going to get recruited and he's gone.
Right.
So the small schools cannot build the way they used to build.
Right.
It used to be a building process, and now you took that away from them. Now, what advantage do they have? Their advantage is gone. And now the small schools can't compete because now they're not competing against one and does. They're competing against the top 10 players. So they're still competing against Cooper Flag, but now Cooper Flag got juniors and seniors next to him. And those juniors and seniors might have played in small schools and stayed there. Now they're not because of the portal.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a valid point, and I do agree with a lot of it. I just think that it's going to end up changing the landscape of, you're right, teams, recruitment, players. So the small schools are going to have to make an adjustment. I mean, we're right. We can't be ignorant to the fact that now, because back in, 10 years ago, the high school recruiting class was most important. Everyone was in the top 100. The ESPN ranks who's the McDonald's All-Americans, which ones can we potentially steal, and then who are your sleepers, right? So let's not just look at the top 100, but who's that sleeper in the top 250 that might not get the chance to go to Duke or Kentucky because they run out of spots, but still are good enough to play D1 basketball. That was kind of how the landscape had to work out. But you're right. Now these players have an opportunity to go to college, and then after they play well for a year or two, now that's when Duke and Kentucky and all these schools are knocking down their door, because now they have the transfer portal, they have more years of eligibility, and we're talking dollar signs, right? So all the big schools are going to have more money than these little schools to offer. So sure, you can be the only star player at McNeese State and barely make any money or barely make any noise and have to play really well to put yourself in that, like, NBA contention or the eyes of the people. Or yeah, you can just go get paid $500K, $1 million by one of these big schools, already start making your money and really stay in college as long as you want to. Dude, I saw one of the seven, I don't even remember his name. He's like a
27 from BYU.
He got approved for a 7th year of eligibility.
Yep.
That's crazy. Like 7 years of college basketball, dude. You're 25.
The oldest player in March Madness was older than Trae Young. Like, what are we doing?
That's crazy. And again, I think it's great for the student athletes. It helps their development. It helps their growth.
Like, get you money.
It could end up being great for the NBA as well, because now we're getting more developed players. So instead of these 19-year-olds, you look at a kid like a couple years ago, Anthony Bennett, right? He's a number 1 pick. He goes to UNLV for 1 year. He's 19 years old, has so much potential, but then doesn't pan out in the NBA because it's too much of a regimen. You don't get adjusted. Becoming a pro is a lot harder. Versus now the kids will have 5, 6, 7 years of high-level organized basketball before they go to the NBA. So it could end up working out great for those avenues for money making in the league. But that only helps professionals. You're right. It doesn't really help the college kids or the viewers who love March Madness.
Do you think that NBA is going to change the way they draft kids? Are they going to draft the more developed players? Or are they're still going to draft the younger players? Because right now, they're drafting the 18-year-olds, the 19-year-olds. They're not drafting this 4th, 5th years. Do you think it's going to change? Are the NBA teams going to say, okay, we want to win now. I don't care about development. This player played 5 years, took his team to the Final Four, like Auburn, their players are 22, 23. Are you think that's the way the NBA is going to go?
I do, and not even just because the NBA is going to go that way, Leb. I think the players are going to start going that way. I think with NIL involved, it makes it more enticing to stay in college, whether it be at the same school or not, because now you might be making money. So the pressure of having to get drafted at 20 years old to take care of your family, is not there anymore. I can take care of my family and stay at Kentucky. I can stay at Duke. I could be making sometimes more than what the G League guys are making if I have good endorsements. So I think a lot of talented players will stay in college more. So yes, naturally it's going to lead to more older and talented players staying and getting drafted versus the 19, 20-year-olds. They're going to have to stay to develop longer to compete with those guys.
And I do agree with you, because on the sample, the point guard from last year from Wisconsin, his name was Chucky. Chucky wasn't going to get drafted 1st round or 2nd round. He was going to be a late 2nd rounder as a senior. Then he was a graduate senior that went to Louisville, got paid $1 million that he was not going to get paid in the NBA to play there.
Right. So it's going to make... I agree. It's going to make college kids more enticed, more likely to stay in college. So it's going to happen naturally. Naturally, there's going to be more league prospects that are now older, more college experience. Even Cooper Flag. We saw the clip. The kids at Duke are saying, stay one more year. They're like, should he even go and sign up to go play for the Hornets or the Wizards?
A lot of money, too.
One of these trash teams. I mean, yeah, he can just – it would not surprise me one bit if Cooper Flag, championship or not, says, you know what, I want to stay at Duke. I want to stay for this experience. I don't need to go to the NBA.
Who don't want to be a Blue Devil be one of the best to ever do it in
Right,
college, and
right.
go back to back.
I agree. Go rival Christian Leitner.
Yeah, go back to back.
Go back to being one of the you can end up being one of the greatest college players of all time because that hasn't been the landscape of college basketball. If you're good enough, you've been one and done, and that's just how it's been for the last 10,
But
15
now
years.
you don't have to do that.
You don't, you know. So I
So
think, go ahead.
my question to you in the chat is this what is good for basketball? Like, in the end of the day, right? Money or money not involved. Is this what is good for the sport? And this is where it's hard for me to say it's good for the sport. Do you think this is not as a player, right? But growing the sport of basketball, growing college basketball, and the viewership, is this good for the sport?
It's to me, it's too early to tell, but I'll tell you what, I don't think it was good for it this year. I think everyone's been realizing the same things that we're talking about right now, and that's been the consensus. It hasn't been, oh, this is good for it's like what everybody I hear the statement is NIL ruined March Madness.
That's what
And
I'm hearing.
and that's a tough standpoint for college basketball to be in because what do we all wait for in college basketball? It's March.
March.
That's probably one of the most, outside of, like you said, World Cup, Olympics, obviously the Super Bowl, but March Madness ranks up there at the top as far as like sports moments we most look forward to. And so I can't say that a less exciting March Madness experience is going to be better for college basketball. It might help basketball overall. Like it might help development of basketball players when we talk about foreign talent coming in and being better than American talent, AAU being the prime way that kids are learning how to play. It might help basketball in those aspects, but is it going to help the NCAA and March Madness and marketing and them making money? Absolutely not. Unless these smaller schools find a way to adjust and find a way to entice kids to keep playing for their schools. Because you're right. If we stop seeing a March Madness with upsets and we have 5 straight years of all number 1 and 2 seeds making the Final Four, it's definitely going to decrease viewers. People don't like to see that. People like the underdogs. People like the Cinderella stories. No one liked when the Chiefs are on the top for 10 years, the Warriors were on the top for 10.
No,
People, we
no.
don't like that. We don't like that.
No, and the thing is, before we could cheer for the underdog, and we knew they were gonna we and Julius talked. It wasn't about the underdog winning it all because most of the time the underdog didn't win
Oh,
it
they get
all.
smacked.
But it was about the story.
Right.
It was about the person that a month after March Madness was gonna go sit down in the office and work because that was their future. But that month they could beat anyone. That month
Right.
they were not a real estate agent. That month they were a hooper.
Right. Right.
And that's what I
agree.
miss. I want the stories. I want the Harvards. I want something like Florida Gulf Coast. I want Texas Northern. I want something like that. And if that doesn't come back to college basketball, we're in trouble. College basketball's in trouble, and they're gonna have to figure something out. And the only thing I think that they might do is if the top 10 players realize they can't play with the top schools, and they go to these smaller schools.
Transfer down, right? I was having that thought too. Maybe a guy who's a top recruit maybe doesn't play as well at the big school, ends up moving downwards.
That's that's not what I meant. I meant more of I'm in the top 20, but now these top schools got 4 seniors coming back. Am I even going to play? Is it worth going to Duke if 4 seniors are in my position?
Well,
I,
personally,
I'm
that's what I think the small schools should start focusing on. Personally, I think we might have had a small conversation about this. So if we're in a college basketball world where kids are able to enter the transfer portal, have all these extra years of eligibility, then if I'm a small school manager or GM or program runner, I'm instantly going and looking for and looking at those best high school kids and saying, hey, if you're not in the top 10, you might not play. Duke could want you. They can put you on scholarship right now, but they're also looking at all these other portal guys who are 5 years older than you, 5 years more developed than you, bigger, stronger, faster. Come to my school first, and let's try to build you and develop you to maybe either stay here or transfer to one of those schools. So to me, the smaller schools might have to start becoming the one and dones. Like we're gonna
And that might be
focus
the
on.
pitch.
It might be like come be one and done here, so we can get you to those bigger schools, and that might be how they have to compete. Is take all the talented freshmen. I don't know if it's going to work, but they have to adjust somehow, bro. You
They
can't
gotta
just say,
try.
well, yeah, right. You can't just throw in the towel and say, well, because NIL, we just can't recruit anyone anymore. They have to try to do something. And young players might now be more enticed to go to a smaller school and actually get playing time so they can develop and grow and try to make money and try to get to Duke and play, you know?
Or if small players are still, I want to go to the NBA next year. Why go to Duke? You might not play. The NBA might
Right.
not be next year. If you're trying to be a one and done,
Right.
you might have to go to McNeese. You might have to go to Harvard. You might go to Princeton just to have a chance.
Yeah. I think what I was saying too, because I saw it in the girls' game. So same thing with Haley Van Lith,
Mm-hmm.
using the portal. She goes from Louisville to LSU, one of the top schools in the nation, doesn't have as good of a season that everyone thought, expected, or anticipated when she goes there, and definitely probably wouldn't have had great WNBA stock if she went last year. So she takes advantage of her last portal year, transfers down in a
To
sense, goes to
TMU.
TCU, and has a great season. And now she's probably going to get drafted. I see it's going to be either one or the other, or maybe a combination of both. Like now, this small schools, we got to focus on really good freshmen and the transfers that are transferring down, the guys who aren't playing. We got to bring them together. But you're right, that's going to take away the
That's
unity,
tough.
the camaraderie, the we've been playing together for 5 years. But to me, now no one will have that experience. Because just because I'm Auburn with 5 kids on my team who have 4 years of college basketball
They
experience,
didn't play
they
together.
still didn't play together, right? It's just going to be a whole bunch of older
Uh,
kids that didn't play.
I think it's tough because the example you use, she still went to a big school. We're not talking about those medium. We're talking about
Yeah, it's
the
still TCU. You're right.
lower divisions.
You're
Like
right.
that's the tough thing. And like I said, let's move on to our next topic. If anyone wanted, last words, but I think college basketball is in big trouble. And like I said, we're going to see next March Madness if something changed. But I honestly think college basketball is in trouble if something doesn't change. If there doesn't become some type of salary that make the little schools or give the little
Like
schools
a
some
cap.
money,
Yeah.
something, they're in trouble.
Well, I mean, if we're going to move on from college basketball, I know that you haven't been as excited about the tournament and whatnot, but we got to talk Final Four predictions, at least who's going to be the champion. We got to give a little bit of, who we think is going to win and where is it at, looking at these matchups. So you want to just do that real quick, say what we
Let,
see, what we
let,
think?
let's do our brackets here, the and everything. And it's two great games. It's for the best four teams in the nation
Right.
vying for one spot.
Which
And
has only happened. This hasn't happened only twice. Since 2008, the Derrick Rose, Mario Chalmers,
Memphis, yep.
Memphis, and Memphis, Kansas year. That was the last time it happened. I think it was like Memphis, Kansas, maybe Florida. I don't remember the exact four teams, but it's only happened one other time. So I'm still okay with it. I still hope these are good games because, like I said, I'm sick of the blowouts. I'm sick of the 30-point
Yep.
wins.
So
Ah,
let's talk about the first game in the lower bracket here. Florida versus Auburn. I've seen both of them play. I think Florida just looked better. Auburn in the first round. If you want to talk about close game, uh, Alabama ATM gave them a run for their money. I remember texting you in the second half. I'm like, it's a 2 point game. The
right.
sixth seed is fighting. So I haven't seen Florida put in a kid that played basketball in the murals. It was getting buckets. He was a 3-time intramural champion, played in the Final Four. No, I mean in the Elite Eight. So now for me, Florida's just too good. I haven't seen any issues from Florida, and Florida have won by blowouts. Is that simple for me?
Yeah, this was my biggest problem with the bracket when it got announced. Auburn all season looked like one of the best teams in college basketball, and they were the number one team throughout a good majority of the season. But they lost 3 of their last 4 games and didn't win the SEC tournament. And who did? Florida. And in March and in the later parts of the season, Florida has looked like one of the best teams in the country. And so I didn't understand how it ended that way. Auburn was still the number one overall seed, and Florida was the fourth best number one seed in this bracket. It didn't make sense to me. And I think that Florida is going to have that chip on their shoulder in this game. They're going to remember that and say, how can you rank this team better than us? And we just won the tournament and kicked everyone's ass to get here. So I think Florida is going to come in with a chip on their shoulder, even though they're a number one team. They've looked great in this tournament. They looked great before the tournament. To me, they look like one of the best teams in the nation. I'm going to pick them to win the game.
And I think it's going to be a good game. I hope. Because if it's another blowout.
It's got to be, right? It's all the top four teams, man. It's got to be a good game, right?
If it's another blowout, then it's going to be boring. It is what it is. Now we're going to talk about another interesting one, Houston with his Duke. And I'm just going to be 100% honest here. I got Duke, and the reason I got Duke because Cooper, he might be the best player I've seen in years. What do you think about Cooper Flagg? Cooper Flagg for me is a baller. Cooper Flagg for me might be one of the best players in the last 10 years. And I don't want to bring race into it, but is he the right savior? Is he the next Larry Bird? Because for the NBA to be excited, you need a little Larry Bird. You need a little Larry Bird.
Little white chocolate in there.
You know that.
I'm gonna say this, man. Cooper Flagg is a baller, and it's not just because we're all saying that and the hype is there. There isn't a part of his game that has a flaw in it. He can shoot, he can dribble, he can pass, he can defend. He has basketball IQ. He's very smart. He's probably one of the smartest players on the floor every time I watch him play. Some of the plays that I see him make, he looks like a guard. He looks like a point guard. And I'm this is a 6'10", power forward who can shoot, and he's throwing dimes like he's Chris Paul.
He's not scared to pull up. I've seen him pull up from 40 to 30. He's not scared.
Confident, right? He's confident. He takes shots that he knows he can make, and sometimes you're looking like, that might not have been the best shot in the possession, but to me, he does. He, amongst college basketball players, he looks like a flat-out pro. He's a baller.
Someone in the chat said he's not a franchise guy, though. What do you think? For me, Cooper is a franchise guy. It's hard to me to say Cooper is not a franchise guy because when I think about franchise, you don't have to just think about his skill. You have to think about marketing. You have to think about Jacob said he's not a franchise guy. He wanted to let you know it was him.
What's up, Jacob?
But for me, he's a franchise guy because he got skill. Because for me, he might be the next Larry Bird. He's just going to bring the audience. He's going to be like a Clayton Clark. Those are franchise players.
Let me ask Jacob this. Jacob, if you're still watching, I got a question for you, bro. And please respond in the chat. Let's say Washington or New Orleans or Charlotte gets the number one pick and Cooper Flagg goes there. Why wouldn't he be their franchise player? Is there anybody on that roster that, I can only think of one on all three of those, maybe two, on all three of those players that could rival him?
I can think one.
The franchise player. I can think of two. I know you don't like the second one I'm thinking of, but I can think of two. But my thing is this. He's already the face of college basketball. And when you're the face of college basketball, you can go be the face of a franchise in the NBA because it's the same responsibility, it's the same pressure. And it's not like he's going to go to a team that's stacked with massive amounts of talent or marketable players, or else they wouldn't be where they are. So why wouldn't he go to Charlotte or go to Washington and be the franchise player? I think he can be the franchise player. And the secret sauce is what Lev just said. The NBA kind of needs a white savior.
I don't want to be mean, but it's true.
We don't want to bring it to that point, but everybody's saying the NBA is in trouble. There's got to be something that brings viewership back besides Steph and LeBron playing against each other because those are the only times
they're leaving.
Viewers being high. Exactly. As these guys are getting ready to retire, there's going to be no more Steph. There's going to be no more Bron. There's going to be no more KD. And we're looking around like, who's the next face of the league?
And no one wants to step up.
Cooper Flagg. Why can't it be? Because, I feel like that's what could help the league. If we have all this foreign talent, right? We obviously have black talent. So what are we missing? Like,
Larry Bird. We're
who's the
missing
best
a
white
Larry
player in the
Bird.
league right now? Is it Austin Reeves? Well, Luca, but not foreign though. Like American player. Who's the best? Like I don't, who is it? And why can't Cooper Flag immediately just step into that spot, into stardom, and represent that part of America for the NBA? And we all remember Bird versus Magic. We saw it for the WNBA. We all remember Reese versus Clark. That
We
makes
loved it. We
it makes
loved
stories.
it.
It makes stories. It makes marketing. It makes money. These are businesses at the end of the day. And Cooper Flag can be the face of your business. That's just what
And
I
you know what I like? There's two type of white people. They're like white people, and they're like white people with with something in them.
Swagger.
Good swagger. Like I don't want to say like Magic Johnson said, Larry Bird was a white boy, but that white boy lived in some kind of black neighborhood because that wasn't a white boy.
Right,
you
right.
know? And at the end of the day, it's sports. And we love sports. But Julius, what is sports? It's entertainment. In the
Right.
end of the day, it's entertainment. And Jacob says he just sees him more of a second option. I don't know. Maybe Jacob is more of a point guard guy, a shooting guard guy that he wants the number one option to be a Steph Curry. And if he is, to they're their own. But I don't see why a power forward can't be a number one option. And that's the only reason I might say Cooper. Maybe you think he's a four and he shouldn't play.
Can Cooper Flag not be as good as Anthony Davis?
He could be better. And for me, he can play the three. He's faster than Anthony
His numbers
Davis.
in college have been better.
And he's faster. He doesn't have to play the four.
And to me, Anthony Davis is a number one option in the NBA. So I don't know why. But and also I'll bring up the two players. If you go to New Orleans, are you not the guy over Zion? Because Zion can't stay healthy. If you go to Charlotte, are you not the guy over LaMelo? I mean, I love LaMelo. Lev knows this. I love LaMelo
He
personally.
does.
I think he's a great player. He's a star. He's had great numbers
But
this
can
season.
he be the franchise?
But can he be the franchise guy? He's already proven
He can.
now that he can't be. So is Cooper Flag going to go to these teams and not be that guy? Those are the only two players in a team that could possibly get a top 5 pick. That's one of the worst teams. Maybe the Spurs, but he won't be the franchise over Wemby.
That would be nice though. Wemby and Cooper Flag.
So I don't know if you saw this, but
the Thunder can get him too.
LeBron James kind of hinted that he understood the assignment. I don't know if you saw this, but like the league might kind of like rig scenarios for the number one picks for these players to go to. What would be the best landing spot for Cooper Flag? Like best for the NBA, best for marketing for him out of these teams that aren't going to make the playoffs and have a chance at the number one pick.
And that's a thing where you want to see what's best for business.
Right.
And what's best for business, and this is a conversation I've had with a lot of people here in Wisconsin. It's like, yeah, we make fun of the big markets, but the big markets is what's best for business.
Exactly. That's where you want these guys to go.
It was best for business. And imagine him in the Nets in New York, imagine 76ers. I
think Philly could be a great option for as far as if the NBA's like, where should we place him?
Or imagine him in Chicago. Oh, imagine Chicago being good again.
I think that would be awesome because obviously they were trash before Michael Jordan and they had a chance with Derrick Rose, but injuries ruined that. But normally that's all Chicago needs to go back to being good is that one player and a little bit of hope. And I think that these can all be great scenarios for him. I think Chicago could be a great scenario. I think Philly could be a great scenario. I think San Antonio with him and Wemby, you put them both on the same team, say, hey, we got these two tall, athletic guys who can do everything, put them on the same court together. The return of the big man, right? Let's get the big man. Let's get the big men back involved in the NBA, put them both on the same roster and let them go at it with De'Aaron Fox. There's a lot of scenarios that I can see working out very well here.
Jacob does have a question for you, and I would love you to answer.
Yes, sir.
If you have Cooper Flag as your number one option, what pieces do you put around him?
Shooters. I put shooters because to me, Cooper Flag is a scorer that I can put in ISO and he can make a play and score for me. But at the same time, like I mentioned, he passes and play makes like a guard. So to me, I would want to put the ball in his hands. And if people start to send doubles and triples his way, I want guys who can catch that ball, shoot that ball, and put it in the bucket. So I would surround him around a lot of shooters. I probably would put one other playmaker on the floor, so I'd have a really good playmaking point
So
guard.
something like Giannis, will you compare him to Giannis? Just can shoot more than Giannis?
I think he can shoot better and play make better than Giannis. I think Giannis is one of the best scorers that we have in this league, but I think he's a better passer than Giannis. I would more compare him to like Anthony Davis or Jokic, if I'm being honest. Like his skill set, obviously he's not that good yet. He's only an 18, 19-year-old kid. But his skill set reminds me more of those guys rather than Giannis. Giannis is kind of bully ball. I'm going to just drive to the basket and create offense for myself and maybe kick out to the corner. But no, Cooper Flag can stand at the top and run your offense if he really wanted to. He's that good. He's that good. He can.
And
Go ahead.
so you have Duke winning this game, or do you have Houston winning? I said I got Duke. It's hard for me to go against Houston here because of I think Cooper Flag is the best player in the league right now, and college.
At this point in the tournament, I'm not picking against Duke. I think they're going to win it all.
And to be
Sometimes,
honest, after we have that Duke Florida game, I just think that Cooper Flag really cares about being a Duke, being a Blue Devil, and
right?
he have said it. He wanted to be the best player to play at Duke, so I think he's gonna
That
win
comes
it
with
all.
championships. That comes
That's
with
good with
championships.
championship. If you don't win it all, then Jacob said he sees him as a lesser version of, but he's taller than Tatum. For me,
He has a
he's
lesser
taller
version
than
of who?
Tatum.
Of Tatum? I mean, I like that comparison. I think their skill sets can be similar. He is a little bigger and taller than Tatum, but again, guys who can kind of do it all. I view Tatum the same way. Does Tatum really have a weakness in his game? I mean, he
No,
doesn't. He can shoot the three. He can shoot the mid range. He can drive. He can pass.
he can play
He
defense.
can play defense. So I don't mind that comparison because to me, those are guys that you don't just put on one spot of the floor and say, "Hey, this is all you do. Go do this." Like, no, they do it all. And
But
so
this was
those do it all players. I don't mind that comparison. Actually, I don't mind it.
this is what I want to let Jacob know. Tatum is not marketable. He's a great player, but there's a reason why he's not the face of the NBA yet. Because he doesn't want it.
Yeah.
You have to like some kind of drama. I'm sorry. Right? Magic Johnson, Larry Bird.
Right.
Michael Jordan was the drama guy. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James and Curry love Tatum doesn't like the drama. He doesn't want to talk smack in the camera. And then at the end of the day, that's what we need as the face of the NBA. We want to pretend we want the nice guy, that guy that just wins and say nothing. Like when you hit a home run and you just walk in the base. That's boring. We
Yeah.
don't want that. We want to pretend like we want that. The fans don't want that. We want fights. We want punches. We want when Luka throws a three to go look at the guy and like, Coach, yeah, I did that. That's what people want.
I also think that Tatum, he has the talent to be that next guy, but to be honest, to me, he doesn't have the dog killer mentality. Let me ask you something. Have there been any guys that we put in this face of the league conversation that would let Jaylen Brown be Finals MVP and let these role players like be like? Sometimes you just have to be like, give me the damn ball. I'm that guy. We're all a good team. I know we have Drew Holiday. I know we have Derek White. I know we have Jaylen Brown. I know we got Kristaps. I know we have one of the deepest teams in the league, but it's the finals. This is my time. I'm going to go out there and score 35 tonight and make sure our team wins and puts it on my back. And to me, that's what Tatum is missing in the sense of like, I'm going to go be the all around superstar, the face of the league. And this is one of the reasons why Steph, to me, hasn't been the face of the league because he has the talent to be probably, and he's won the championships, but he's also willing to defer, willing to be like, hey, KD, you can go be Finals MVP. Iggy, you can come be Finals MVP. I just want to win. And while those guys are great for your team, I'm sure the Celtics love having Tatum. I'm sure the Warriors love having Steph. That's not going to get you to face of the NBA, face of the league status. You have to be up there like, I'm the best player in the league, and that's just going to be what it is. Give me the ball.
In the mentality, like I spoke to your cousin about, to be the face of the league for me is, you know what? 2 minutes left. I'm gonna guard your best guy, and I want your best guy to guard me.
Right, right. And
I'm
that's
going to score, and then I'm going to make sure you don't score. Like Kobe. Kobe said, I want to guard LeBron. I don't care who the best defender in my team is. Get out. I got him. Like my grandpa used to say, let's go mano y mano. Man to man. And let's see who's better. And Tatum doesn't have that.
that's
Like,
all Tatum is missing, to be honest. If he had that, like to me, Tatum would be the best player in the league if him and Jaylen Brown got into a fight like Kobe and Shaq did. Remember when they had two alphas? If Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum was a Kobe and Shaq situation, I'd look at Jason Tatum and be like, that boy's about to be the face of the league. And I'm not saying it should be that, guys. I'm not saying that there should be drama. I'm not saying that the Celtics can't make that camaraderie work and win championships for years to come and be one of the greatest teams that we've ever seen. I'm not saying that there's anything problematic with that. It's great what those guys are doing over there. But just my personal opinion, that's why Tatum won't ever be the face of the league.
It's mentality.
It's the mentality. And a lot of places, they have that mentality. It's like,
you can't, you're born with that. Mentality, you're born with it.
Right.
Even if Tatum did it now, it would be like forced. Kobe, you saw it from the beginning. You saw it from the beginning from Corey. Jordan, you saw it from the beginning. Even if you want to look at the other greats like Ovechkin, like Messi, like Ronaldo. You tell Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, who's the best? You or Messi? No, I'm better than Messi.
Easily.
I don't see Tatum. If they ask, are you better than LeBron James when in his prime? I don't see him saying yes. If they ask him, are you better than Jordan? I don't see him saying yes.
Right.
And when you ask the GOAT, are you better than the other GOATs? Guess what? Yes, I'm the best of all time. And that's what your answer should be.
I think I think you're right. I think that's what he's missing. That's all he's lacking. I think naturally, if they continue to win, he might just insert himself in the conversation just off that alone. But
and I think if he would have been the face of the NBA, he would have been the face of the NBA by now. He had his chance, and he didn't take it. And that's personal.
Well, not winning Finals MVP definitely hurt his chances. I mean, this summer hurt. Like, you don't win Finals MVP and then you don't play in the Olympics. Yeah, like that kind of to me. So to me, that doesn't happen unless they go back to back and he absolutely like demolishes this playoff run. If he goes in and averages 30, puts up Michael Jordan numbers in this finals run and then wins the finals, because whoever comes out of the West is going to be a squad. Like, they're going to be ready for the finals. So he would have to win it. He would have to win Finals MVP, and he would have to put up great numbers to me to be back in that conversation. Or else we're going to let one of these other young guys step up and take it. It's going to be Wemby. It's going to be Flag. It would be Anthony Edwards if he wanted it, but he keeps saying he doesn't want it.
I think it can't be Wemby and it can't be Luka just because they're not American. And it is what it is.
I mean, I'm going to go conspiracy super haywire right here. Honestly, I think they want it to be Luka. Why else to me would he go to the Lakers? Because that trade still makes no sense to me. You can't tell me the Dallas Mavericks sat here and said, we felt like we were going to be a better basketball team without Luka Doncic for the next 10 to 15
Anthony
years.
Davis.
Without Luka for the next 10 to 15 years. Like Anthony Davis with Kyrie Irving, would that have been a great dynamic for this year and next year? Absolutely. Maybe. Sure. Would it have been better than Luka and Kyrie? Stop it. In no world can I think that that's a reality. So to me, there's only one answer. This was a business decision. This was to put people in the stands. As the owners of the Dallas Mavericks, these are Vegas guys. They want money in their pockets. They said, Luka can go to LA and make us all money. So they might be trying to gear up for him to be the face of the league. Do you want him to be the face of the league in Dallas or LA?
You know what I see? I don't see more of the face in the NBA. Like I said, I don't think it's that. Is we want Lakers Celtics. We want that Larry Magic.
Maybe.
And at the end of the day, and I know you're a Warriors fan, but what's the biggest rivalry in NBA history? Celtics Lakers, LA Boston, East versus West. I don't like you, you hate me. You know what I want to see? I want to see Tatum, Luka. I want to see some fights. Back in the day when Magic and when Larry Bird had them in the chokehold, That's what we need. That's what we
So if the
need.
finals was a 2022 rematch between the Warriors Celtics, or if it was Lakers Celtics, which one would you think would get more viewers?
Oh, Lakers, Celtics, no
It's
questions
easy.
about
Let,
it.
let me tell you
LA,
why. Let me tell you
Boston.
something though. In the most recent, in the last 15 years, the highest rated basketball games, finals or not, have included Steph Curry.
I know, but it's history. It's the people that don't even like watching basketball will watch.
Well,
It's
to
like
me,
I told you about a Dodgers Yankees. You don't have to like baseball, but guess what? Julius
you
didn't
know,
watch baseball, but he was excited.
of
It's
course,
Dodgers Yankees.
you're right.
Same. Like in the World Cup, Brazil Argentina will break records. And it's the same in basketball. Boston versus LA, East versus West, different cultures. It's just I need it. I want it,
I think that there's a chance it could happen.
and it'll be good for the NBA.
I personally think the Lakers have like a probably a top three chance in the West to win the West, and of course the Celtics have the best chance to win the East. So it's very possible that that's a matchup that we see this year in the finals. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's not about the face of the league, But if it's not a foreign player, if it's not Luka, if it's not Wimby, if it's not Jokic, like who is it gonna be? I just it could
Cooper
be.
flag.
I think he could be talented enough, but I still have to see it in the NBA before I just write it off and say that he's gonna.
I
I
think
just
a lot of people don't want it, right? If Cooper Flag wants it and he plays with swagger, Cooper, it's like Clark. Clark was the future of the WNBA before she even got to the WNBA. She was the girl.
Yeah,
Everyone
but
knew she was the
but the
girl.
difference is the they've never really had that before. Like they've had great WNBA players. Don't get me wrong. We've seen Lisa Leslie. We've seen Diana Taurasi. We've seen
You're gonna get banned. Watch.
Maya Moore.
They're gonna talk. The WNBA players fans are gonna
Hey,
get into
listen,
you.
listen. I'm one of the biggest advocates for women's sports in the WNBA. Okay, but I'm also a realist. We've never been attached to a women's basketball player like America was attached to Caitlin Clark. She's going to be responsible for a lot of the growth and evolution that the WNBA is getting ready to see. They're going to get increased revenue. Fans, they're going to start making money. The players are going to start making more. And as great as those other girls were, they didn't bring the viewership in that Caitlin Clark is. That's just the facts. Like, that's just what it is.
Like you
And
said, it's entertainment. Like it doesn't
right,
matter how good you are or something if no one wants to see you. Like it's mean to say it like that, but like nothing against nobody. But sports is sports because of the fans. And in order to get fans in the seats, you got to get them entertained. It
right.
doesn't matter how it happens. Like in the NBA, people was Larry was a Magic plan. What did they do it because one was black and one was white? We don't know, but in the end of the day, that saved the NBA because it was two different cultures that two different type of people can relate in the United States. That got the rivalry going, and that's what Iowa versus LSU was. Two
Aren't
different cultures.
So I heard this being a conversation, and it was not anything against Caitlin Clark, but it was saying that, in a sense, even though Clark was as great as she needed that LSU team to be the rival and to
She
go
needed
against
Reese.
because it,
Yes.
it gave that rivalry feel to it. It gave that good versus bad. And it was great for the sport that LSU took that role on. They said, okay, well, we're going to be the bad girls. If we're going to be who everybody, hates for us to be, then we're going to go out there and do it. And we're going to talk shit and we're going to rub it in
Yeah.
your face because everybody says that that's what we do anyways. And I think that people could be right. That was great for the sport. And it was what a superstar like Clark needed a nemesis. Sometimes when you're just the best and you just dominate everybody, it could be great to watch if you really love the sport, but it could also be boring.
But
It could be boring.
every great half a villain.
Right.
Like
I
Messi
agree.
have Ronaldo. Can Messi be Messi without Ronaldo? I don't think so. Was Jordan without the bad boys? No, they needed the bad boys.
Magic had Larry, and LeBron had all that. He was facing Jordan. He was facing Kobe. He was
Kobe, yeah,
facing the
yeah, all of
Celtics.
that.
He had all that. So I do agree. What I was saying to kind of circle back to the original point, and then maybe we can be able to move on to the next topic is that's still the difference to me even though, like I said, there were a hell of a lot of talent in the WNBA from the fans, from the viewership's mind point, she was already going to be the best player in the WNBA because that's why they started watching women's basketball. No one's feeling like that about Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag is not going to automatically be the best player in the NBA the
No.
first year that he's in there. And that's the difference why Caitlin Clark was able to automatically be, because people felt like that. Whether it was true or not, whether it's true or not, people felt like she was
People,
automatically
she
going to
got
be the
seats
best
in
player.
the. But the thing about it is, like, I think Cooper Fly's gonna get people's butts in seats.
It depends on where you
Day
go.
one.
I don't know. Is he going to get people in Washington? I don't know, bro. Because they still might suck. Like, does he turn that franchise around single handedly?
It,
Is
depends
it a
where you,
LeBron James situation where you go from winning 20 games to 55?
it depends. Imagine he goes to New Orleans. You don't think that turned things around?
In New Orleans, yes, because they have a lot of other talent. They have CJ McCollum. They have Zion Williamson. They have Herb Jones. They have they have guys already, right? I'm forgetting the other guy who's hurt right now. I don't know why I'm slipping on his name, but they have guys already over there, and they're young. They've getting the camaraderie, the competitiveness. So I think he can go there, and New Orleans could be a team instantly, a threat instantly. But I'm saying, can he turn the franchise around? Can he go to Chicago and then Chicago's a playoff team next year?
We don't. We will have to see. We will have to see. And now we talked about the NBA. We talked about college. And now I'm gonna go back to, because there's something I want to say. Take out of my chest here. I want to go back to the U.S. national soccer team. And a lot of people don't know, but we had something called a Breakfold International. And a lot of people, this is for other people that know, the World Cup will be in the U.S. next year, right? It's going to be one of the biggest events ever. And Julius, we'll see. Having the World Cup in the U.S. will change something. But at some point, our players need to step up. What happened last weekend was embarrassing. Embarrassing. We cannot lose to Panama and then lose to Canada. And then the week before, Julius, you know what Coach said? Coach said, I think we're going to be the best team in the world. What do you mean in the world? You can't beat teams in Central America. Now you want to be the best team in the world? In 10 years, you see the United States as the best soccer team in the world, and now you're embarrassing yourself?
Yeah, that's
You know what the United States was known for? They were known for grit. They're known for players coming out the field bleeding. They left the field, couldn't breathe because they knew they didn't have the talent, so they played their hearts out. And they call this generation the golden generation. You can't call yourself the golden generation if you haven't won anything. What kind of golden generation calls itself the golden generation? Yes, you're playing in the top teams in Europe, but now you're coming to the United States and you think you're a diva because now you can't beat no one. There's no heart. There's no heart. There's no heart. If the players, coaches hearing this, if you're not gonna come to play in the United States and leave your heart out there, gonna leave everything you have in the floor, don't come to play for the national team. Stay in Europe. Stay over there. It's an embarrassment. Losing to Panama, a country of 3 million people, is embarrassing. We lost in the home country, and we lost. Now we're the fourth team. We're not the first. We're the fourth best team in our own continent in North America. That's bad. That's really bad.
It sounds like to me that they thought that they were better than they were and maybe did a little bit of
Yes.
underestimating. You know, sometimes when you have that swagger and you think, okay, we're going to cruise through this part of the early rounds or whatnot, you go in there and you really underestimate teams. And then you get kicked in the face and you realize, wait a minute, maybe we talked a little too soon, talked a little too much game. Because at the end of the day, and Lev, you are an athlete, you know. You know, we both kind of been through this before. You can be the best team. You can be the number one ranked. You can be the one seed in the NCAA tournament. At the end of the day, you got to step on that field and play. You got to step on that court and play. Like you have to still play the game. And those other guys on the other side, they're talented. They're professional athletes. And guess what? They want to kick your. They want to beat you, especially after you're talking all that hot mess.
The thing about soccer, and this is maybe more than other countries, if you're not willing to die in the field, Like the thing about it is like, yes, we talked about the Olympics, right? And you talk about, okay, we don't know if Curry or these players are willing to play for their country as much as they're willing to play for the Warriors, right? And
Right.
soccer is not that way. In
Right.
soccer, you're gonna die for your country. If you're talking about Europeans, if you're talking about people in America, people in Africa, they're gonna die for their country. If you're not willing to come die, I'm afraid the United States is gonna be a disgrace in this World Cup and make everyone look bad. Because in the end of the day, all Americans are gonna say, we don't care about soccer, we don't care. But guess what? The whole world cares about soccer, and if it come to our home country and beat us 8-0, you don't think as an American you're gonna be like, damn,
Oh
we
no,
suck.
no, we will because it's like that every
It's
year. Anyway.
here.
You're right. The
But
World
it's
Cup,
here.
right. So it actually being in there's going to be a lot of like at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, there's a lot of pride in the United States. Like we can be
Yes.
whatever we could be at whatever you know lens against each other, like we want to say. But at the end of the day, sports will bring all of America together. And you're right. If they come out and embarrass themselves next year in the United States,
It'll be embarrassing.
it will be a lot of talk that they will not be able to run from. And we're going to need answers. We're going to need the answers.
Because
sports
money
media,
is going.
the fans, everyone will be slitting their throats. Because
Stephen A might not watch soccer, but he's going to be talking about the World Cup. He's
Right.
going to be there because it's the World Cup. And if some country like Panama comes and beat us in our home country again, we need answers, and we need answers fast.
I'm the same. I'm not the biggest watcher of soccer in the world. I love it when it's on and when I happen to watch it. It's a very exciting sport. I can't say that I watch it all the time and know a super lot about it. Me and the Hybrid House boys last World Cup, we did the most. We had a party for it. We went out one of the game. We went out to a restaurant and got a whole bunch of shots and tequila margaritas. We went hard for the World Cup.
The red, white, and blue.
Right, exactly. It's just go America at that point. We don't even care that I didn't watch soccer all year. I'm watching the World Cup, and y'all better come to play.
And if they don't, that's the thing. And if they don't step up, if they don't realize, okay, I fucked up, and don't play like, okay, it's like the United States against Serbia. The first half, they thought they won because of their jerseys, and the Joker told them, no, if you guys don't come to play, you guys will not win gold. And now, but in the soccer, it's different because it's like we're not better than everyone. So if we don't play with heart, what do we have? We have nothing. So if something doesn't change, I need the coach fired. I need the president fired. I need the federation fired. I need everything to change because if they come to our country and embarrass us, then it's not just embarrassing soccer. You're embarrassing all of America.
Well, I'm glad you pointed this out to my attention because I'm going to be watching a little harder too now because especially I'm a big advocate for if you talk that talk, you better walk that walk. All right. So even if you lose, you better be playing the hardest I've ever seen you play. It better be hard fought. There better be someone leaving bloody. Like you better put up a damn fight. And so the last thing I want to hear is we're talking all that good talk and then getting embarrassed, getting blown out. You know, these things are not okay.
And then players say, like our captain Pulisic said, I just want our country to know I love playing for my country. Show it in the field. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you tell me you love play. I don't want to see you score in Europe. Come here and win us something. And at the end of the day, that's how American sports is. Like anything but, basketball and football. If you're a swimmer, I don't care. If you don't win in the Olympics, we're gonna forget about you. And that's why we love Michael Phelps.
Let's hope that this is a wake-up call. Like this is kind of when like the dream team went and got their ass kicked by the college team. And they're like, wait a minute. We can't just call ourselves the dream team and not be able to go out there and actually perform. So hopefully it's one of those situations where it could be like a wake-up call, like, hey, if we're going to do this and really try to represent on our home turf, we got to do better than this and play better than this by a lot and really come to compete. And that's what I'm going to hope. I'm going to hope that it's the wake-up call they needed because it sounds like they came in thinking that they were just going to be.
Oh yeah, they thought they beat Panama by just showing up, and
by just showing up. By just
Panama said no, we love our country and we're gonna if you're gonna beat us, you're gonna beat us, but we're gonna die on the field. And
Right.
no, if it's no matter if you don't come with the same mentality, you're gonna get killed, and that's what happened.
I'm gonna hope it's a wake up call. Let's cross
So
our fingers.
let's our last topic of the day would be Major League Baseball. And the question is, Julius, have you been watching baseball? Have you been watching the score 20 runs,
So
11, 10? Like have you watched any of it? That's the first question.
I've been seeing it. I haven't watched a game from beginning to end, but I've watched in passing, watched a lot of clips. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a box score warrior when it comes to baseball because I love to FanDuel MLB. It's one of my most lucrative times of the season. I look at all the statistics, who's batting averages or what. I've been seeing a whole bunch of people go crazy on the home run parlays, right? Like, and
Yep.
I pay attention to all that stuff. So I haven't actually sat down and watched a full game yet, but I will. Normally, once basketball season ends, that's when I go like full throttle and start watching baseball because that's really one of the only sports that's on at
So
the time.
the question a lot of people want to ask: is this good for baseball? All the runs out. We got new. I know we talked about the new bats. You read the
Yeah, you talking
article.
about the bats?
There's
Yeah.
new bats. There's players hitting home runs. I've seen Judge hit 3 home runs. Actually, I saw a game. The first 3 pitches. If you had back to back to back home runs somehow for $1 million, you won because it was back to
No,
back, three
no.
balls, 3 home runs.
There was those three players got put in a parlay by a group of friends. It was on I forget what platform it was on. I think it might have been FanDuel. But I follow BR Bets and the BR
Mhm.
Sports Bets. They put the group chat of the friends who won. They put those three guys in a parlay and won like 20K. And they were like freaking out, like, y'all, not only did it hit, but it hit in the first inning.
Three
Like
balls,
the
three
first
pitches.
inning. And to me, I think it's good for the sport, personally. I think it could be reminiscent of like back when guys were taking steroids, shooting up the juice, and running up the score. The difference is not everyone had that advantage when they were juicing up, right? But it could be, to me, one of the most exciting times I can remember in baseball as a child was Barry Bonds, right? I grew up in the Bay Area. Everyone was a San Francisco Giants fan. Barry Bonds was knocking home runs out the park left and right. And of course, we found out later why, and it would put him at a competitive advantage. But to me, if we're saying the advantage is in a bat, an advantage that all the players can now have, and it'd be equally as advantageous, why not? Let's see baseball with more runs. Let's see a higher scoring, more exciting game. I think that's the only reason why baseball doesn't take over the nation the entire season. There are too many games of not enough going on. They already play 180 something
82.
games. So I'm going to see 180 something games and 100 of them are going to be 2-1. No, let's run it up. Let's run it up. I don't think it could be bad, but I'm not per se one of those old school. I've grown up watching baseball, so maybe I'm just recency bias. But I love looking at it and seeing, damn, this game's already 6-1 in the first inning. Like, that excites me. I don't know about everybody else.
And that's the same way, and it's just gonna, the pitchers, you gotta step up.
Right.
You gotta step up.
Be better.
You gotta
So
step
now it's not about
up.
letting them get the little hits and whatnot. Now pitch it to where they swing and miss. Strike
Strike
them
him
out.
out.
Strike them out. Yeah. Stop letting them get those little hits and dingers and stuff like that.
No, strike him
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Pitch to throw a strike.
Yeah. And it's also going to bring the best of the pitchers. If you're one of those guys that not letting people score, guess what? Ka-ching, ka-ching. It's
And
all
again,
about the money.
I'm all for it if the playing field's even. So I understand you not wanting guys to be able to hit home runs if they're at a competitive advantage. But if you're telling me that every single team has the same option to use the same bats, have at it. That's like when the NFL used to be allowed to use like the sticky glue. Like back when
No,
the receivers were allowed to do that. Hey, it's not like every team can't do it. Go do it. Go score some points. Have at it.
I agree. And like I said, it was a great episode. Great. Any last topics you want to talk about before we end here?
But just to end on this, I also think it could do a counterbalance because we talk about this in baseball all the time, where baseball kind of has the same problem that college basketball has now with the NIL, right? Money kind of throws off and makes it more advantageous to go to the Dodgers or go to the Yankees or whatnot. But maybe some of these smaller time players could start playing better. They can start having better batter averages and maybe even up the score a little bit now, because to me, there's got to be some sort of balance. If baseball isn't going to at some point have a hard salary cap or a luxury tax, they're just going to keep letting the Dodgers and the Yankees sign every player, then we've got to do something to make every team just as exciting. We've got to do something.
And I agree. Like I 100% agree with it. And then last topic to end here is the NFL draft. I don't want to take too long here. Gonna couple words here, just because we're gonna have an intro full draft show. Don't worry about it, guys. We're gonna have an episode.
Y'all stay tuned for the draft
You stay
episode.
tuned. So just talk about your team. What do you want to see in the draft here? What are you looking for as a Raider fan? There's a lot of news that happened, a lot of things that happened. As a Raider fan, what would make your day and what would break your day?
So there's been a lot of hype recently around the Raiders and Genty. And obviously, after seeing Genty's Heisman candidate season this year, I definitely think I'd be really, really excited about that. I think the style of football that the Raiders always want to play, smash mouth, in the trenches, hit them in the nose, that needs a good running back. And I was very sad and disappointed when we let go of Josh Jacobs. I thought 100% we should have re-signed him because he was that like Raiders smash nose running back, run straight to he would probably lead the league in head-to-head penalties. Like he would just go run forward. And I miss the Raiders having a good run game. And we got Geno, obviously. But I'm going to tell you the truth. Geno or not, I've been seeing a lot of mocks and a lot of potentials with the quarterbacks going all different places. I would be very, very sad if the Raiders passed up on one of these top quarterbacks in this draft. Because I think we have a perfect bridge opportunity right now for, let's say, Geno to be the starter for a year or two, maybe even 3 years, and kind of pass the torch to that young and ready quarterback once he learns and gets developed. And to me, I've seen mock drafts of Shedeur Sanders going to the Saints. I'd be a little bit hurt if we passed up on Shedeur. Geno or not, I would be, because I feel like he can be a franchise quarterback, and the Raiders have needed a franchise quarterback for so long. And Geno's not the franchise. Geno's the bridge. So I would be sad to see us pass up on a franchise quarterback, especially because I think Pete Carroll will have us competitive. I don't think we're going to get the number one pick 1, 2, 3 years from now. We're not going to have a chance at Arch Manning. We're not going to have a chance at the next best quarterback. So this year, if we have a chance to draft that guy, we need to draft that guy. And to me, those guys are only 3. I see Cam Ward. I see Shedeur Sanders. I see Jackson Dart. I think those 3 guys have the potential to be franchise quarterbacks. I don't know if I see another one in this draft. I'm going to be a little sad if we pass up on all of them. But that's just me. I'm not going to be mad. Either way, the player that we get is going to be really, really talented. And if it's Genty, I'd be excited, especially for this year, this offense this year.
So I agree. I like. I will go with you guys have to get a quarterback from. But what I'm listening at is that Dart, Michael, he's going to be a second rounder. I don't see him being a first rounder.
I've seen mocks with the Saints drafted him.
And I've seen people talk about Sanders going all the way down to the second round.
Yes,
you just don't need quarterbacks no more.
That's crazy.
And if you guys let that go, like if you guys are there, it just showed me again you guys don't want no franchise quarterback because your guy is not a franchise quarterback.
He's not. I love Geno. I've always thought Geno's very solid since he's been to Seattle. He turned his career around because he wasn't that great of a quarterback with the Jets. We all saw how the beginning of his career started. But I'm curious to see how his extension plays out. We keep saying that we're going to give him an extension, and the Raiders are trying to get it done. Please, Raiders, if y'all hear me, okay, I'm going to put my cup in it. Please, Raiders, if y'all hear me right now, can we not overpay for Geno and for any more than 3 years? To me, his contract should map out with Coach Carroll's. We got Coach Carroll on a 3-year contract. I think it's a 4th-year extension, possibly. Gino needs to just match that deal because he's a perfect bridge guy, a guy who can set the tone now, who can get us into some competitive ways, show guys how to practice, how to be a pro, how to work hard, how to eat right, how to take care of yourself. Please, can we not act like this guy's Josh Allen or Brock Purdy or one of those guys who should get that top contract? If we give Gino any more than because they said in Seattle he turned down 45 million. I might be a little upset if we give Gino 50 plus, bro. I might be upset. Josh Allen just got 55 million. So you think I'm going to be happy about Gino getting 52? I'm not. I'm not.
So I agree with you, and like I said, we will have another episode. It's all football NFL draft.
You gotta tell us some Ravens a little bit, man.
I got some.
You got the sweater on.
Inside. I got some inside.
You got some.
I've just been heard from people from Leb have friends, a lot of friends. Something's gonna happen. I've heard. Don't be surprised if we move up, and don't be surprised if we don't have a first rounder. And I love how you're talking JT, because the Ravens have had multiple meetings with him too. I don't know why. We have Derrick Henry, but like you said, one is better than two. Two is better than one.
I agree.
There's a lot of rumors out there. We have talked to him. We talked to offensive linemen, but the only skilled player we've talked to is him. And if you had multiple meetings with him, there might be a reason. I've heard they wanted to trade Andrews, but no one wanted to give us a second day pick. They was offering 3rd day picks, and they thought it wasn't worth to get rid of Andrews for that. So we're keeping Andrews. They're all looking at kickers and punters. We don't know the Tucker situation.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on. Tucker situation. It's not sounding good.
But I'm also want to say I am not happy with they want to make Lamar Jackson the highest paid player in the league. I'm not happy. Why? Do you have a ring, Lamar? No. Josh Allen, the guy that beat you, he took a pay cut. He didn't want to be the highest paid player. He said, I want my team to be better. I want my team to compete. Lamar, do the same. Why do you care? Do you need money?
Listen.
Lamar, do you need that much money? You don't.
Listen. I would agree with you if the highest paid player was a winning quarterback. But I'm pretty sure the highest paid is Dak Prescott. And I'm pretty sure this next highest paid is Trevor Lawrence. I understand.
So why didn't Josh Allen do it then?
So let me say this, because Josh Allen is in a worse spot than the Ravens right now. Besides James Cook, who did they really have on that offense that really could have helped them get to the next level?
Win a ring.
So to me, the Bills were in a spot where they needed to become better. The Ravens can win with this roster.
Win a ring.
And you guys already got better. So to me, I
don't agree.
Wait, you don't agree about what? Like saying that you guys didn't get better?
I don't agree with him being the highest paid right now because he haven't won.
I mean, do you agree with Dak Prescott being the highest paid?
And I think that's why the Cowboys suck, because they pay their players too much money.
I mean, you're right. I mean, there's two sides to every story. But I wouldn't have been upset if Josh Allen did the opposite and said, pay me $65 million or no deal, because he deserves it.
And then he doesn't win the ring. It's like, what do you prefer, the money or the ring?
Well, here's the thing, bro. Not everybody is going to get both, right? And honestly, I still feel like both these players have a great chance at the ring. So what if you pay Lamar Jackson, he becomes the highest paid, and then he wins 2 straight Super Bowls? Are you mad that they made him the highest paid? No. So you're saying that he should win the Super Bowl first before he becomes the highest paid? I mean, that's how you can feel as a fan. But then if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm gonna look at that funny, because again, 7 of the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the league haven't won Dookie. So I don't know if that's an argument per se.
But winning organizations do that, though. Winning businesses do that.
The Chiefs made Patrick the highest paid. They just got lucky that they were ahead of the quarterback curve.
And then
because
he took a pay cut. He could ask for more money, and he said no because I want my players to get paid.
yeah, now
That's the
that
difference.
probably was a mistake because they kept all the same players, didn't add anybody else, let Tyreek Hill walk, and now their offense is mid.
But that's not Mahomes' fault. Mahomes allowed that money to be there. I want Lamar to say,
Right.
no, go get me another offensive lineman, go get another piece in the defense, and just make sure we win the Super Bowl. As a fan, as his family, I'm like, go get your money. But as a fan, I just don't agree with it.
See,
As a fan.
I
As
think
a GM, I wouldn't agree with it either.
the other reason why I agree with it is because I don't remember. See, if he got his money last time, I would agree with you. But he didn't get his money last time. This dude had to watch Deshaun Watson get the largest guaranteed contract in history, and then the whole league boycott Lamar Jackson, and no one trade for him, and no one give him the contract, and no one give him the guaranteed money. So to me, that's what also makes it like, bro, you deserve it. You've won 2 MVPs, had great, phenomenal numbers this year. You probably should have won a third. Go get paid because last time you were supposed to get paid, no one paid you. They paid Deshaun Watson. So that's also the final straw to me. Like Lamar Jackson has done enough of watching Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, who else? Jared Goff. Like he's done enough of watching all these guys that he's way
Question.
better than.
All
Way
those,
better than.
all those organizations that pay those guys, what are they?
Not the
Losers.
Lions. Not the Lions.
They haven't won it all yet.
They
And
got
they're
hurt
gonna-
this year. They got
and
hurt this
they're gonna
year.
get it. They're in a different situation because a lot of the guys were in rookie contracts. When the guys are out of rookie contracts, they're gonna be, oh fudge, we're gonna figure something out.
I'm just saying, Lamar Jackson that's the least of his worries because as long as he's on the Ravens, y'all will not be a losing organization. Okay, y'all are not gonna lose with Lamar Jackson. Y'all might not win a Super Bowl. I think y'all will win a Super Bowl, but no way you guys are like under 500 or not a.
You know what I will say as a go give me a no turnovers in the playoffs and then we'll talk. That's what I would say. Go not throw the interception when it counts the most
You know,
because
you were a little hurt at the end of the football season, so we really haven't gotten into this. We really
So
haven't gotten into
we
it.
might have to, but that's the thing. It's just like, but another day, another time.
Yeah.
We will talk about football
Because that was on Andrews, bro. That loss was on Andrews.
Both.
I don't care what anybody
No.
says. Lamar Jackson did enough to win that football game. That's on Andrews. He did have the
Both guys.
turnover. He did
Both
have the
guys.
pick. He had one really bad interception. I understand that. But Mark,
Really bad, like high school bad.
but he brought them all the way back in that game and made every play he needed to and put it right in Andrews' hands. Andrews, you got to make that play for your quarterback. You can't do that to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson needed you to make that catch, Mark Andrews. All right, I'm done.
I'm hurt again. So, but that would be my last words. Thank you for everyone watching.
Hey, y'all, that was a great show today, man. I love
I
it.
will put everything on TikTok sometime this weekend. We're gonna have videos up every Saturday. We're gonna have times for you guys. Every video is gonna be up. Let us know if you guys want to watch us watch something, react to some game. Let us know. There's a lot of things coming up. Any last words, Julius?
Yeah, guys, go follow all of our social media pages. So I'm probably going to post them on each page. I'll put them in all the links, put them in the bios. But if y'all follow us on TikTok already, share our page, shout us out, Back and Forth Sports. Also, we got the Twitter now. It's going to be active, Back and Forth Sports. I just created us an Instagram so we can do reels and be on that market as well. Again, it's at Back and Forth Sports. Just go follow our pages. Like us, follow us, retweet us. We're going to have a lot of content coming, a lot of sports. We'll have a draft episode. We got the NBA playoffs coming up. We got baseball just getting into the swing of things. A lot of good sports coming up. So make sure y'all like and follow us so y'all can tune in and not miss an episode.
And thank you. This has been Back and Forth Sports, and we'll see you next week.